Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me on the channel today. Actually, today we've got two special guests in the world of Cardano. We've got Patrick Tobler and Alex Watanabe. We're going to be talking about Cardano NFTs and just the world of Cardano as it's expanding into the smart contracts world ever faster. And so, Patrick, Alex, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for
Thank
having
you
us.
so much for having us. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, Patrick, I'd love to pass it to you first, just to give sort of an introduction to folks watching. What's your background, how you got into the space, that sort of thing.
I'm a computer science student from Germany. I'm currently writing my bachelor thesis about Cardano, actually, and my deadline is coming up, so I'm getting kind of stressed. But yeah, I've been in the space for quite some time. I started in 2017 and got into Bitcoin, of course, like everyone else. Then I got into Ethereum, and then I discovered Cardano, and quickly realized that it's just the best thing ever. So I got into Cardano. I followed it for a few years. And then last year, I started my own stake pool, and then I got into Cardano development and made a little tool which is called the NFT Maker, which we're probably gonna talk about later.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, now I'm here and I'm working on Cardano basically full time. And after my bachelor thesis is going to be done, I'm gonna be working on other Cardano projects. So that's very exciting.
That's amazing, man. That's amazing. Yeah, I've been following your stuff for a while. I'm really stoked to see what you've been building. Uh, Alex, I'd love for the same thing for you. What's your background? How'd you get into the space?
Sure. So I heard about Bitcoin back when the pizza was being bought, but I didn't mine any. I was an architecture student, and we all were using NVIDIA GPUs for the CUDA
Mm-hmm.
libraries that you could do like real-time ray tracing on. Even back then, it was kind
Yeah.
of supported a thing. And back then, I think it was like, you could only mine like hundreds of Bitcoin a month instead of thousands with an NVIDIA GPU versus an AMD GPU. So it was like, oh, that's not going to be worth it. The
Yeah.
first time I really dipped my foot into crypto was back when I think it was around 2013 when it was going through $100. And so my friend and I, we spent around $5,000 buying up around 15 AMD R9 290 GPUs, set up a little mining rig there doing that. And I think we mined around 15 to 20 Bitcoin at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried my hand at trading, didn't do so hot at that, and I kind of lost interest in Bitcoin when FPGAs and ASICs were coming online.
Mm-hmm.
And like to me, I just read the writing on the wall, and it didn't really have that decentralization aspect to me anymore. So I kind of dropped out of crypto because of that. And back then, proof of stake was just like an abstract idea that was on like Bitcoin talk forums and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So uh, I kind of meandered out of architecture into more of a programming career through by way of Arduino, if you can believe that.
Yeah, that's
And
cool.
in my day job now, I actually like train and develop and deploy AI models for like enterprise usage for like forecasting and image classification, different random usages there. But what really got me back into Cardano last year was I've been trying to learn Haskell for like 4 or 5 years now, and
Me too.
I kept seeing I kept seeing Cardano pop up in the Haskell subreddit, and then I kind of read about it, and I'm like, this is awesome. It's proof of stake. It's in Haskell, which to me, like a purely functional language for an immutable ledger, just like makes sense, right? That state is the way handled the way it is. And so I got involved. I made a stake pool last year, and yeah, kind of ended up here. It's just a beautiful thing to me.
That's
Really
amazing.
excited.
Well, let me take 2 seconds to do this. What is your stake pool ticker symbol?
Mine is Monad from my Haskell Monad tutorial in joke,
Nice.
whatever.
Awesome. And
Nice.
Patrick, yours is Babel, right?
Yeah, exactly.
BABEL. Okay,
Yeah.
great. And so my stake pool is H4SH. So folks, if you're watching, you've got some ADA on hand. Start with Alex and Patrick. If you got some left over, throw some my way. I just started it last week. So
We're
getting it
we're
spun
doing
up.
okay now with the NFT thing. So help Hashoshi get started out. That would be. I always like to see new pool operators spin up pools.
Hey,
So
appreciate that.
Definitely.
Appreciate that. Cool. So shameless plug over. Let's go ahead and talk about Cardano NFTs now. I think the first thing I wanted to do is maybe pose this question to you guys both, and you guys can probably both, tag team the answer. But to me, one of the things that is interesting about Cardano to me is the sort of unique approach that was taken to the core ledger part of Cardano, the support for multi-asset, fungible and non-fungible at that base layer of the protocol makes it a lot easier to do projects like this with NFTs. So could you share a little bit more about what drove you to choose Cardano as your NFT home?
Yeah,
Patrick?
sure. Basically, the way that NFTs on Cardano differ from NFTs on most other blockchains, for example, on Ethereum, is that we don't actually require smart contracts to write the NFTs. So as you mentioned, it's all supported on the base level. So NFTs or tokens in general, they're called native tokens on Cardano, and they're supported on the core level, and they're treated the exact same way that ADA is, which is amazing because that has a lot of advantages. For example, it's a lot cheaper to send your NFTs. It's a lot cheaper to mint your NFTs. And it's also very fast, and it's very easily supportable by all wallets. So I can just use my wallet, and then I can select, okay, ADA or my NFT or some other random token, the BABEL coin or whatever. So that makes it very easy as well for NFT creation, because you don't need smart contracts. You basically just have to, specify what your NFT will look like. It's a pretty simple and basic thing, and then yeah, it's done.
Yeah. So I mean, for me, I was really intrigued by what Alessandro, who's the Space Buds creator, did by kind of this idea of associating metadata to the minting of a token, which happens to be of unit one, right? A non-fungible one. And so for me, I wanted to kind of play with that. Part of the project that we ended up releasing, this Unsig thing, is the idea that most NFTs are just pointing to like an IPFS reference, or like an ARweave, some external thing, which is basically like a decentralized version of Google Drive or Dropbox. And what was really cool and elegant to me about what Alessandro did, and what I think we've kind of, built off what he did, is this idea that I kind of explained NFTs to my non-tech friends as like deeds to a house or a piece of real estate. Right, the house is over there, but the NFT is just like the deed, right? And if IPFS goes down, then your NFT is gone. But by doing what we did, to answer your question, because it's such a simple, elegant thing, even someone like me who's more of a data scientist, right, and not really like a systems engineer and smart contract programmer, like I could understand just, oh, we have metadata, we can have, we kind of cheated and cram some code, some Python code into the metadata, right, and then reference this kind of schema. And it was just a nice, elegant way to basically bring the house on chain and make it so that, we do include IPFS links for the ecosystem to kind of show the output, but they're actually not necessary for the preservation of the NFT from my perspective.
Amazing. Yeah. And that's one of the, I think there's been this thing swirling around the community, even outside of the Cardano world, like, is the NFT craze over, right? Are we done with NFTs? And it's, to me, similar to, ICOs and then DeFi, where like everything comes on super hot and everyone wants to get involved in it, realizes, hey, the market's really, like, the tech and the market's not that mature yet. It dies back off. And then, these sorts of things are going to bring maturity to, verifying artists, breaking coupling with, the need for storage of the actual asset somewhere else. And these sorts of things will come. So it's really, really cool to hear that. And I guess that leads us to, the topic of Unsigs, right? And this project that you've been building and working on. So if you could give sort of the elevator pitch for what it is and how people can find it, and then we can talk more about it after that.
Sure. So Unsigned Algorithms is basically a project that tries to explore what does it mean not just to put art on a blockchain, but how do you make blockchain native art? I come from an architecture background. I have a lot of art, professional artist friends. And the idea is like any medium should be kind of interrogated in order to kind of explore what is possible in that medium, right? And so for me, that meant like using code to generate these kind of two-dimensional images. And you could say there's two levels of the project. One is like what I actually instantiated and did with it, which is like these color fields and like the kind of juxtaposition and adjacency of color, which is kind of an homage to Saul LeWitt and Mark Rothko, two American kind of conceptual abstract painters. But then there's like the kind of tech level, the deeper underlying that, which is like, what does it mean to make art on a blockchain? And how do you do that? So I hope people can read both levels of the project, even if they don't find that the color is interesting and that kind of thing, like there is a kind of underlying, there are two levels of read to the project. So that's kind of what's going on for me. And then Patrick, was hugely helpful because even though I operate a stake pool, like I didn't want to be responsible for the minting and distribution of this stuff. Like that would be a whole nother headache. And so what happened was I reached out to Patrick and said, hey, we had known each other from another YouTube interview we happened to be on together at the same time. I said, you have an NFT maker, how about we specialize here? I can focus on the art collection. You can focus on making a dope, distribution and a reveal system and all this kind of promo codes. And I think it's really worked out. It really allowed me to focus on what I'm good at, and Patrick to kind of like take NFT Maker to the next level. So it's been hugely exciting to me that we can collaborate in this way. I've never met Patrick. I'm living in Japan. He's living in Germany. Right. It's just so cool.
It's crazy how the world works.
Yeah. I mean, we've literally never seen each other in real life, and now we are working together. That's just absolutely wonderful to me. And of course, I mean, the whole NFT Maker stuff started out very simple and very basic, and then it progressed over time, and now our system that we're using for the Unsigs is actually very complex, and we have like 30,000 wallet addresses and stuff like that. So I think it's getting more and more advanced with every new project. So it was a great chance for me to actually push it to the next level, and I'm looking forward to like what's
so many kind of edge cases were caught right through running the distribution this way and different kind of things. I'm just so jealous of Patrick. He's how old are you, Patrick?
I'm 23.
And you're writing your undergraduate thesis, and he is like this production thing, which is like not just like it's shipped, it's actually doing stuff. It's handling like real, like I would say not insignificant amounts of economic transactions, right, on chain. Like such an amazing experience for Patrick. I think I'm so glad that
it really
is getting all this experience.
And that's what this space lends you the opportunity to do, right? Because you are able to come in a space where there is this welcome. You're welcomed to try new things and to push something out there and say, hey, this is what I built. What do you think about it? And funny enough, I actually found Patrick and like met Patrick because I saw NFT Maker kind of making its rounds in the Cardano community, which was something that like that's where my passion is taking something that might be pseudo technical, right? Like you need the CLI, you need to interact with the Cardano API, putting a layer of abstraction on that and letting people mint NFTs freely without having to be a technical person is awesome, right? And so being able to build on top of that is also great too. So what are some of the things that you did, Patrick, in building this out for Unsigs to do the at scale distribution of those Unsig NFTs to make NFT Maker sort of V2?
Yeah, so Unsigs is basically running on a completely new like system, which is like an API where you have an API key and all that stuff. And we have like databases where you can basically put in your customized metadata, which we did for the Unsigs. And we have like 30,000 wallets, as I mentioned. And basically what happens whenever you go onto the page and click on buy is that you get assigned one of these wallets. And then that wallet is locked for you as a person for a specific amount of time, like 15 or 20 minutes. And then you can send money to the wallet. And then once the wallet receives the money, it basically sees, okay, here's money. I'm gonna randomly select some NFTs from the backend, from the database, and then pushes them forward, mints them, and sends them back to the buyer. And that's, a completely separate layer from the actual front end. So I don't want to get too technical here, but it's
one
quite
thing
a
I really
complex
like
system
that Patrick was able to innovate, right, is that usually when you buy an NFT in an automated drop, they kind of use the amount sent as a unique ID to, right? And to me, that was a kind of it worked, but it was kind of a hacky thing that you have this like dot random number at the end of the 50 or whatever, right? And so to me, Patrick, it's just another level of a refinement, right? That you're already sending ADA to an address. You have a unique address, you're sending 50 ADA, you don't have to get that little amount wrong. These small kind of details to me as someone who comes from a design background were kind of very nice, and I appreciated that, Patrick put that kind of effort in. to make it that work.
That's actually interesting because when I started with NFT Maker version 1, that is, or it still is, the way to uniquely identify the buyer and the NFT that the person created, right? So we actually go with this 0.01 random thing at the end of the amount, and that led to some very funny edge cases at the beginning, actually, because at the beginning, like one of the first bugs I encountered was that I counted this number up. So if someone just, you know, missed it and put it down by like -1 or +1, they would get like a completely random NFT created from someone else, which is obviously not the way to go. So
it was just incremented.
Yeah, it started at 0 and then would go to 1 and 2 and so.
So if I paid the wrong amount, I'd get the NFT. Oh wow.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a little bit like a lottery, and some people started abusing that. So yeah, I'm glad we're past that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is what's cool about figuring this stuff out over time, and not being pressured to build something. You know, I'm always of the mind that, except for on the protocol side, if you have a dApp idea, or you have an external tooling idea, the best way to develop it is to get an MVP out as quickly as possible, and then let people kind of interact with it, put the code out there, let people critique the code, and then you will see how fast your product goes from MVP to like a robust tool.
There's something very terrifying to me, and probably Patrick as well, about like doing a project on an immutable ledger that's public, right? Like, I don't know, like we were, parts of our body were pretty tightly clenched when we were launching this and worried, like, are we going to embarrass ourselves permanently on a global stage, right? And so I get what you're saying, Hashoshi. It totally makes sense. It is also, there's this kind of weight, right? Like this isn't just like an EC2 instance of a VM somewhere that you can hit reset on, right? And deploy a new version too. So it's a new thing for me, and it was really exciting. And I just hats off to Patrick for handling everything so well.
Amazing. So I guess first of all, echoing that, I think both of you guys, great idea. The art is cool. I'm a proud owner of an Unsig or two, which is great. And Patrick, of course, really impressive putting together the tech foundation. So, I'll remain a big supporter of NFT Maker, from here on out. So please keep building. That being said, I would love to hear, kind of retrospectively as we wrap up the video here, how has this launch been, right? Like how has the reception to Unsigs been, and how can people find it if they want to, get in business here?
Patrick, can you do it quickly?
I mean, you can find the project first of all on the unsigs.com, which is our website. It's very easy. It's been a crazy ride. I think we differ very much from other NFT projects because there are many NFT projects, and most of them attract like a very specific type of trading card collectors, which buy the NFTs and then sell them, and then this whole selling and trading community develops, which is of course cool and fun. But somehow we're like not really into that community, and this community didn't find the Unsigs very, very attractive so far. But we attracted a completely new set of people, which were more like traditional art collectors. It's like outside art collectors who don't really buy NFTs, for example, or people who bought their first NFT as an Unsig.
The number of tweets we've had about like, I haven't bought an NFT, but I've bought this, and people actually printing them out and putting them on their wall has been like really meaningful to me. And it just kind of blows my mind, the crossover appeal. I think we're going to have to actually add up a how to buy ADA thing, because we do seem to be getting interest on the page from like not traditional crypto people even, who are kind of interested in this concept. And to me, that's a really exciting thing, that whenever you release a dApp on a project that you're passionate about, maybe your first question was, for me, this had to be Cardano. Like that's, I'm not a Cardano maxi. I'm a crypto. I believe in crypto, and I think ADA or Cardano is the best kind of representation of that right now. And so it had to be Cardano for me, but I'm not kind of like a dogmatic person. And if something better comes along, I'll switch to that. But there was no doubt in my mind that had to be Cardano. And I'm really, one of the things that really excites me is this idea that people might get into Cardano through us. If a few people do that, that to me made this like really valuable and worth it, because that's the kind of larger meta project that I'm interested in advancing. So
yeah, exactly.
That makes sense. Awesome. Patrick, do you have something you wanted to add?
Yeah, just one more plug for myself. So
Please do.
That's fine. I'm working on NFT Maker version 2, as you probably know, and the basis for that is going to be the system that I designed for Alexander and the Unsigs. But the NFT Maker version 2 is actually going to be like a completely decentralized marketplace once Pluto smart contracts launch on Cardano, which is coming soon-ish. And we have like a completely new interface and a new design and a new website, and it's going to be amazing. I'm really
it looks
excited
dope.
about
I've
that.
seen previews. Super excited.
Thank you. So
yeah,
if you want to stay up to date, just follow us on Twitter at NFTmaker.io. That's it.
Great. Yeah, I was going to say, I'll leave some Twitter links, social links down below, along with the site for Unsigs and NFT Maker as it currently exists today. Big fan of this. It's why I wanted to make this video. So really thankful, Alex and Patrick, for you joining me here. And we'll do this again when NFT Maker comes out, the second version. Let's come back on here. We'll do a demo. We'll do a how-to, and just chat NFTs.
Awesome.
Great.
I'm looking forward to it. Thank you for having us. It was great.
Thank you so much. It's been really fun.
No worries.
I think you have an unsig
everybody.
in your background, Hashoshi. I'm not sure, but I think I saw that earlier.
Yeah, man. That's what I do, man. Awesome. But thanks so much, everybody, for watching. Don't forget to follow these guys on Twitter and check out Unsigs. And if you got some ADA on hand, delegate that over to one of our stake pools. And thank you so much again. Have a fantastic rest of your week. Cheers.